Good evening, everybody. After such an introduction, you don't need a speech anymore. He made it already. He made the whole rush. Really. I can tell you only one remark about the Maor show. You brought just in the beginning, Rabbi Yochanan, you brought Brochus Davches. The Bakden me Umachshe came bewegt nicht da, says Rabbi Yochanan, Haino de Ahalino. And the Maor show you brought beautifully from Megillah of Tes, Atidim Bat Eklesiot, Bat Evidashot, Kutzlaretz, to go to Eretz Yisrael. But the Maor show doesn't relate to the two words, Makdevei Umachsheke Lebeknicht. He owes us something. It would say, Yatve Bebeknicht, Garse Bebeknicht, Makdevei Umachsheke. The Maor show doesn't answer the question. It's another drush. Not for them. The truth is, there is a Maharit El-Ghazi, he relates to the word Maharit. To the point, I would say, we have to speak Tachlis. I came here as a guest speaker, but we have here Rike Rothner, and Shmuel Narkis, and Yossi Waldman, and their friends. They came to build a new, beautiful neighborhood in Yerushalayim. And they need partners. They need investors. So I would say, instead of giving the drasha, I have to speak Tachlis. What is Tachlis? You can think that Tachlis is a Hebrew word, Tachlit, destination, a target. Tachlit. Dr. Burg, late Dr. Burg, used to say that Tachlis is two words in English, which are talk less. Talk less. Instead of giving a long drush and long speeches, Tachlis, talk less, go up and sign a contract. If I would have the financial means, I would do it by myself. I live in Tel Aviv, I have no flat in Yerushalayim. I want to remind you, the Gemara, we saw it together upstairs, in Gittin, Chet Amud Bez. HaKoneh, the one who is buying a field in Syria, around Sova, that King David conquered. Kekoneh beparvarei Yerushalayim. The same right like you would buy in one of the suburbs of Yerushalayim. And this project is not a suburb of Yerushalayim, it's Yerushalayim itself. Ask the Gemara, Lemay Hilcheta. Why do you say that if he buys in Syria is like a suburb of Yerushalayim? Related to what? The answer is, if you buy in Eretz Yisrael, in Yerushalayim especially, the real estate, you may sign it to make the contract on Shabbos. Was it Shabbos, sag je daito? What is Pikuach Nefesh, Doiche Shabbos? No. According to the halacha, it's forbidden to say to a Gentile, to a Goy, to make for me this and that melacha on Shabbos. But if it deals with buying a land in Yerushalayim, you may on Shabbos to say to the Goy, write, buy, pay, do it for me, be my shaliach, my messenger. Mishum Yishuv Eretz Yisrael, lo yigozru rabono. That's the Gemara in Gittin, Chet Amud Bet. There is no exer, because Oimer leNochri v'Oiser, this is exer midrabanon. In a case of buying a land in Eretz Yisrael, especially in Yerushalayim, the Gemara says, Parvarei Yerushalayim, the suburbs of Yerushalayim, it's permitted to make the deal on Shabbos. So I go, Mishum Yishuv Eretz Yisrael. So what do I need to add to this story? The Meferish Gemara. And this is the Tachlis, the Tokles. There is a pasuk in Bereshit Lamed Vov, Genesis book, chapter 36, dealing with the descendants of Esau. In a very strange pasuk. We don't pay attention. This is the end of the Sedre Vayishlach. Eile b'nei Seir HaChori. These are the children of Seir HaChori, Esau. Yoshvei Haaretz. Yoshvei Haaretz, who sit, who settle in the land. The Gemara asks, and Rashi brings it. Yoshvei Haaretz. You say about Bnei Seir HaChori that they were Yoshvei Haaretz. Atu Kule Alma Yoshvei Rakia Dinu. The rest of the mankind, all the people in all the world, they sit on the sky. They are in heaven. We are all Yoshvei Haaretz. All of us sit here, or in Lawrence, or in Yerushalayim, or wherever. But Yoshvei Haaretz, why only Bnei Seir HaChori, such a title, a uniqueness? What are they next? Exclusive group? Yoshvei Haaretz, all of us. As we say, La Hashem Haaretz u'meloi'o, Tevel v'yoshvei. All the people who live in this globe are Yoshvei Haaretz. Why is Bnei Seir HaChori? What's the special there? Says the Gemara, they were not only Yoshvei Haaretz sitting here, we are all sitting here. Meyashvei Haaretz. They were by a very special gift given from the Rebbeinu Shalom. They had a special smell to smell the earth and to taste the soil. And according to the smell and the taste, they could give an advice and to guide people, agriculturists, that this piece of land is good for olives. And that good piece of land is good for grapes. And that one for titles, for figs. They didn't attend the faculty of agriculture. They were agronomes by nature. The Rebbeinu gave them the talent, a special talent, to be meyashvei haaretz, to make a desert a place which is a paradise, fruitful, not a desert anymore. And this was the credit paid to Bnei Seir HaChori, Yoshvei Haaretz, according to the smell and the taste of the soil, of the land. They knew exactly this fits for olives and that fits for grapes, etc. Why do I tell it to you? Look at the history. Let's assume for a moment that you are all representatives of nations who sit in the United Nations here on the east side of Manhattan. And I come to explain our right, the Jewish right for the land of Israel. And I want to convince you. I want to convince all the delegates of the United Nations. Let's describe that this is the UN and I am the ambassador of Israel for a moment. I will tell you a very simple thing. There is one thing you can never change. Even Obama, who spoke all the time about change, change. There is one thing he cannot change. No one can change. The past. The past you cannot change. Que sera, sera. What happened, happened already. You can force the past, but you cannot change it truly. Look at the past land of Eretz Israel, as well as trees belong to this place and not to the other place, and Bnei Seir Achori were experts to give the advice which tree belongs to what place. Ki ha'adam etz hasadeh. A human being is the same like the tree. A place which fits this nation doesn't fit the other one. And the nation who succeeds here will fail in another place. Every tree has his place. Every nation, every human being has his homeland. Look at this Eretz Israel. When we came out on the stage, you mentioned Yetziat Mitzrayim, 3,320 years ago, out from slavery to freedom, we came, starting with Moshe Rabbeinu in the East Bank, and then with Yeshua ben Nun on the West Bank. We were not the only nation on the stage. Ammon, Moab, Plishti, Aram, Edom, Amalek, Ziklag, Sorvet Sidon, Aram Tzova, Ashur, Babel, Paras Umadai, Yavan, Roma, Carthago. Where are they? There is one of them. Roma, we have met 18 years ago at the gate. It's not Roma of Julius Caesar. This is Roma of Berlusconi. It's not the same Rome, not the same language, not the same religion, not the same mentality, not the same accomplishments. I will not relate now to Roma. But look at the history. I told you, you cannot change the past. The history of this land since we became a nation, since we arrived there as a nation. It was conquered by Syria, Sancherib, and then by Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, and then Persia, Parasumadai, Koresh, and Dariavish, and then Greece, Mogdon, Alexander Mogdon came, 333 before era, he came to Eretz Israel. And then came Rome. Pompeius was sent from Antiochia, he conquered Yerushalayim. Aspasianus went, he left to be the emperor, and his son Titus destroyed our Beis HaMikdash. Roma and Byzance. Byzance is a branch of Roma, Byzantium. They ruled over so-called, they gave the name Palestina. Andrianus gave the name Palestina to the land of Israel and to Yerushalayim, Ilia Capitolina. They wanted to extinguish the light of Jewishness in Eretz Israel. Palestina, the Roman gave the name. They ruled over so-called Palestine 600 years. Roma and Byzantium, 600 years. No competition at time, no wars, no battlefields. After Roma and Byzance, 476 past era, was a division, a split in the Empire of Roma, East and West. We belong to the East, of course. Antoninus, friend of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. All over 460 years, 600 years, excuse me. Then came the Mamluks. They ruled Palestine 200 years. Then came the Salvanim, the Crusade, 200 years. Then came the Arabs, Salah ad-Din, Harun al-Rashid. 460 years they ruled over Palestine, the Arabs. Then came the Turks, Ottoman, 400 years. Then came the British Mandate, 30 years. From 1917, General Allenby, to 1947, the UN have decided Jewish state in a part of the biblical Eretz Israel. Now, why do I tell you these names and the numbers and dates? Very simple. 600 years of Roman 460 of Arabs, 400 of Turks. What was accomplished in that land during those hundreds of years? Give me a name of one book which was created in those years. A name of a university. A name of a famous doctor. A mortal, one mortal. Roman period. One name of a famous doctor. A famous discovery. A book. One book. 400 years Turks. 460 years Arabs. What did you do here? Did you develop the land? Did you make it fruitful? A special building? There is from the Turks one train station in Sebastian. It's a ruin, a churve. Sebastian. Gush Emunim started there, the settlements in Somalia, in Shomron, in an old train station in Shomron, Somalia, built by the Turks. From the English, we have some Bailey bridges. One of them in Tel Aviv, one of them in Ot Yaakov, in the valley, the Super Galilee, Valley of Jordan. And another from Jordan to Israel, Gesher Arabi. What did they do? We gave you the land 600 years. Rome, an empire, so rich, so wealthy, so strong, with no enemies at the time. What did you achieve in this land? Exactly as the Torah says in the book of Vayikra Chovov, Leviticus 26, ושממו עליה אויביכם היושבים בה ואתם בארץ אויביכם. When you will be in exile, in Galut, in diaspora, and your enemies will be here in this land, it will be a desert. ושממו עליה. Emptiness. Tohu vavohu. We came back only 67 years. Not 600, and not 400, and not 400. 67 years. In spite of 7 battles, wars. In spite of no one day of relaxation, a real one. In spite of absorbing so many immigrants, Olim Chadashim, who came naked, with nothing. From 600,000 to 8 million in 60 years, not 600. Look at this land. Can you compare Yerushalayim of 2015 to Yerushalayim 1948? Yerushalayim 1948, what was it? Ramot, Shafat, Beit Vagan, in Karen, Gilo. Machane Schneider was Machane Schneider. Was not Merom Yerushalayim. What was it? Can you compare the streets, the buildings, the population, the numbers, the yeshivot? How many yeshivot started in those 67 years and developed? Hundreds and thousands of students in each. Petach Tikva is the same Petach Tikva. Ra'anana is the same Ra'anana. Do you know that 67 years ago in Beersheba was no one Yid, an Arab, small city. One Jewish person wasn't in Beersheba. You have today a university, a hospital, a medical center, Roka, or University Ben Gurion, and some 200,000 years. 200,000 years in the desert, Negev. Have you heard about a city called Carmiel or Emmanuel or Ariel 67 years ago? Bnei Brak is the same Bnei Brak. I studied in Bnei Brak. I lived there 2 years. There were 3 yeshivot. 3 yeshivot. You know what is Bnei Brak today? But mainly in Yerushalayim you see the difference, especially after the 6-day war, the unity of the city, the old city with the new one, the western with the eastern, and the development of Yerushalayim. So I come now to you, ambassadors of all the countries in the United Nations. Tell me, who is the owner, the possessor? To whom does this land belong? Look at the past. You did there nothing. You, the Syrian, the Turks, the Italian, the Greece, all the nations, the crucially from all Europe, Richard, Lionheart. What did they do in Eretz Israel? Battlefields, bloodshed, nothing but bloodshed. And we came there, poor as we were. Some of us survivors of Holocaust. No homes, no parents, no profession, no language. Even the army we built, the IDF, a feast of power. The center of Torah since Chizkiyahu, king of Judea, never happened that from Kiryat Shmona in the north till Eilat in the south, including these 2 cities, there are yeshivot there. Merkazim shel Torah. There is no one city in Eretz Israel, poor as it is, Ofakim or Shderot or Netivot, Dimona and Yerucham and Mitzpeh Ramon, yeshivot. Ma'alot and Chatzor HaGlilit, yeshivot. Who speaks about Sfat and Feria? All over. 67 years. So, Bnei Seir Achori Yoshvei Haaretz, they knew to tell us where to plant a tree of olives and where to plant grapes. The Rebbeinu Shalom told us where to plant the Jewish people, where to plant all the others. And he said it. He says it every day. This is your home. This is your place. Here your success. Here you see the fruit. All the other places, we are here and there. We were in Poland. Some of us used to say that Poland became a Jewish state. In Hebrew, you don't say Poland or Polania. You say Polin. They said it's 2 Hebrew names. Polin. Here you may sleep. It's a good hotel. Polin. 1,000 years it was our home. 75 years ago, we were the 3.5 million Jews. 3.5 million only in Poland. At the end of the war, ashes, chimneys, gas chambers. This was not our home. But until we discovered it, it took 1,000 years. And here you see in Eretz Israel, you see in your very eyes, it's not just a drosha. It's not a speech. Facts. Facts you cannot deny. Past you cannot change. What happened to this land in the last 3,000 years? Only in the times of King David and King Solomon, was a prosperous. Bayit Sheni, relatively, was a great success. Even Matityahu, Judah the Maccabee, at the end of Bayit Sheni. And then, when we went to Galut, emptiness, Tohu Vavo, Shmama, desert. We came back, prosperity. Prosperity in quantities and in qualities. Prosperity in spiritual life and in material life. People became wealthy from nothing. Mamish from nothing. He used to say that America is the golden Medina. Maybe. But Eretz Yisrael is also a golden Medina. If you invest, you see the fruit, you see the profits, and you are satisfied, and you promise the future of your future generations. You give them some things that they have for life. Not only the flat, not only the house, but the feeling that they are in the place which belongs to them since the ancient fathers and mothers. The Gemara says that there are three places that there is undoubtedly belong to the Jewish people. Those three places, not because we were there, but because we bought them. We paid for them. The Gemara says. Avraham Avinu bought the cave Marat HaMachpelah in Hebron. No doubt. The Arab says that they are also descendants of Avraham Avinu. Yitzchak and Yaakov does it better. That's why we say in Yeshayahu says, "Ve'achalticha nachalat Yaakov avicha." Even the Smirot of Leil Shabbat, we say Nachalat Yaakov Yirash. Why Yaakov? Why not Nachalat Avraham? Brit Bin Abitarim was given the book of Bereshit Tesvov to Avraham Avinu. But if to Avraham Avinu only, the Yishmael will say, we are also descendants of Avraham Avinu. The only one that they cannot say a word is Yaakov. We are Bnei Yisrael. Bnei Yaakov. Beis Yaakov. Ve'achalticha, says Yeshayahu, Nachalat Yaakov Avir. Kipi Hashem Dibur. Nachalat Yaakov Yirash. So this is the first place, Avraham in the Maran. Yaakov Avinu bought in Shechem, the Mea Ksita, a place for his tents, for his family, for his furniture. And the third one, King David, Yerushalayim. He bought from King of Yevus, Rav Lau. Another version is Arnan, Melech Yevus. He bought the Mount of Moriah, the place of binding Isaac, Akedat Yitzchak. For what? To build the temple, to build Beis HaMikdash. That's why we say, Mizmor Shir Chanukah Sabayis LeDavid. David didn't build the bayis. Shlomo HaMelech did. But he have arranged the real estate. He bought the land. He bought the field. From Goren, it was a Goren for wheat. Belonged to the king of Yevus, Yevusi, Erna. David HaMelech said, I will not take it in vain. I am the king. I can take it. No, I want to buy. I want to pay for it. Avraham Avinu the same. Ephron Achiv said to him, take it. It's my honor to give you the cave free. במיטב דברים קבור את מיתך. איש ממנו לא יכלה ממך מקבור מיתך. Avraham Avinu insisted on, no, I want to pay 400 shekel כסף. אוי ולעשה. ויקום השדה והמרה שבו, לאברום, למיקרו, לעיני בני חת. They are all witnesses that I bought it, that I paid for it. So please, dear friends, מעשה אבות, סימן לבנים. That's the tachlis. The talk less. I can speak and speak and speak about our right that Eretz Israel and Yerushalayim belongs to us, but you can do it. I will speak and you will do. To be partners and neighbors and good friends and to build a beautiful family of Kol Israel Chaverim all together. ויקבץ וידחנו מארבע כנפות הארץ חבר עם כל ישראל where in Yerushalayim. Not only לשנה הבאה בירושלים הבנויה, לשנה הזאת בירושלים הבנויה, אמן.